Drone operators are in high demand, according to the CNBC video. This is something that I do professionally, and I feel uniquely qualified to react to it. So let's watch the video together.
They're some of the world's most in-demand tech jobs.
Oh wow.
Alright.
That was some precision right there.
So we'll be taking images of this entire elevation. That's the objective.
So we look for very key information. So this is what we are trained to do.
But what does a day in one of these roles actually look like? From rescue missions, filming travel videos, to inspecting buildings for signs of corrosion, they're all working with one technology, drones. This is Most Wanted. Kevin Chong is inspecting a building's facade to identify defects.
Okay, take off.
But sometimes not everything goes according to plan.
Those are pigeons for sure. Are you
Hate fighting birds.
Yes,
Okay.
landing. So it's a real case example. So as you can see just now there was a lot of pigeons.
Yeah.
The immediate action is for us to, of course, lower down to ensure they are gone before we continue.
From construction and
Fun fact about birds. Aggressive birds will attack your drone because it thinks it's just another bird in the sky if it's flying a direction like side to side, forward, backward, or down. But there's no animal that flies vertically like a drone will. So if you fly your drone vertically, like going straight up, birds will recognize that, hey, this isn't like any other animal that I've ever seen. Maybe I shouldn't attack it. But most of the time you do want to stay out of the way of birds. You notice that you've got a bird's attention whenever they start circling your drone, and that may be an indication that it's about to attack you. But for me personally, what I normally do is whenever I see a bird, like even just checking out the drone, I try to let the bird know right off the bat that, this isn't any other type of bird that you've never seen before. This is a drone, so I'm just going to fly straight up, and hopefully, the bird gets the idea and flies away. If not, I fly straight up, and then I try to fly away from the bird, try to give the bird some space. Don't try to disturb the bird in its natural habitat. And then I'll bring it in for a landing. Hopefully, the bird moves on to go do something else that birds do during the day. And then I can send the drone up again and then do whatever job that it is that I'm supposed to be doing.
estate to transportation and defense, drone pilots are in demand across numerous sectors. They're even saving lives.
This is one of the remote stations which is deployed. The command center is here. The drone could be anywhere in the world. I'm trying to locate someone in the event that someone missing.
I feel like I'm gonna be on a stakeout.
Eun Ik Tong has piloted more than 20 rescue missions while serving as the chief technology.
That's a DJI Mini 3 Pro. I use that drone, and I'm surprised that he says that he can operate it from anywhere in the world. That's pretty awesome.
Officer at NECT Engineering.
So I'm looking for a man in his 40s, white shirt, supposed to be lost in the woods. Alright, so I'm going to move around to take a look at what my surroundings are like.
And right now, one of your colleagues is there.
Yes.
Posing as the victim.
Yes, indeed. Aha! So I see something here. I see a man, white shirt, in jeans. That should be you. You're the victim. I found you.
Yes, correct.
So when we find victims, they typically try to run away. But usually we don't want to get too close. We just want to make sure that we are high enough.
Right now, we are tracking the victim.
Yes, we're tracking the victim. And of course, not to alarm the victim. So we just need to know where they are at all times until rescuers come.
Right now, you are capturing the coordinates.
Yes, the victim is not aware that they're being tracked.
So as not to scare them.
Indeed.
So I've never done any type of search and rescue or like looking for people with drones. I have like tracked cars and stuff like that, but that was like only for fun. So obviously I'm not like flying over a road or anything like that, but you can see like cars that are like in a parking lot or something like that, and you'll just be able to use the car. I've even used like cars for some of my more cinematic shots that I do of cities. And of course, we're probably going to get to this later on in the video. But sometimes it does help to like have a subject in mind whenever you're framing a shot as far as like videography goes. The tracking part that he's talking about is really useful in like visual storytelling.
Logged more than 20,000 hours of drone flight time per day in 2023.
Oh, wow. I think, how many hours of flight time have I logged? Over the past year, I spent literally 2 days just flying a drone. That's pretty insane when you think about it.
And there's one flying right now. I'm going to trace the drone back to its pilot. Hey Tom.
Who's there, Nessa?
Yes, I'm Nessa.
I'm in the air now. Let me come back and land.
Okay.
Chong Chuk Fung specializes in flying FPVs, or first-person view unmanned aerial vehicles. This involves flying the drone from a pilot's perspective. And it's a lot more hands-on than conventional drone flying.
Yeah, so FPV is like, I think it's one of the most fun types of drones to fly. I have an FPV drone, I use it in construction. A lot of times companies want to see like the progress of a job site. And so normally what they would do is they'd have a guy with a hard hat and they put like an Insta360 or a GoPro attached to his helmet and just have him walk the entire job site. What I do is I do the exact same thing, except I fly through the entirety of the job site and you can see it in one continuous shot. That is used for two purposes. The first one's going to be so they can track the the progress of the job. The second method is they can use it for marketing purposes. Personally, I think it's the most interesting perspective to see an entire job site come together. And what I end up doing is I layer like the videos just on top of each other, so one on top of the other, where you can see the construction site being built, like as it's being built. And then by the time the site is finished, you'll have what the site used to look like, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, just of what it looked like flying through it. So I think it's the most fun thing in the world.
Usually because they put a lot of technology inside,
Yeah.
there are GPS, sensors, obstacle avoidance, compasses, parameters. So it's very well assisted kind of drone flying the consumer will experience. Whereas for FPV drone, it's more like motocross, very agile. It's also very high demand on the rider, able to control it to go over different kind of terrains and in fast speed. So usually when people think about drone filming, they will imagine a drone high up in the sky.
Hey, it's Singapore.
But I can also fly indoor and close proximity flights, close to people.
Yes, so I fly indoors. I didn't mean to cut him off, but yes, I fly indoors all the time. In fact, that's how I learned how to fly. I was like super nervous about one of the biggest jobs that I got. So I was flying in my kitchen and living room, just like under the table between the chair legs and everything like that. Just making sure that I felt comfortable flying close to objects, because one of the things that you don't want to do when you get on a job site is crash. I mean, it's like super embarrassing.
Close the object safely. Wearing a goggle, it gives you a more immersive experience where you can make judgments a lot more accurately. Whether I want to make it shoot up with high acceleration or to let it drop down to make a dive using gravity. So all these are adrenaline.
Oh, I've got a funny dive story. So normally when I go on vacation, I normally take my drone with me. And I put together like a little video or whatever, right? Well, this time I forgot the GPS drone. I left it in the trunk of my car. It never made it out of my car to put in the rental. So I left that drone at home, but I did have the FPV drone. So I was like, you know what? I'm scared of using this thing. I really don't know. I know like the basics of flight and everything like that, but that drone just made me really nervous to use. Number one, because I found out later that that it wasn't calibrated correctly, so it literally wouldn't fly in a straight line if you asked it to. Two, I was just getting familiar with FPV. So, you see all these building dives and stuff like that on the internet, and you think that stuff is like so awesome. So I'm on vacation, we're in Florida. I take the drone up and I'm gonna do my first building dive. So I like fly it, to the top of the building. I've seen it done plenty of times before. You fly it to the level of the building, You rotate the stick so the camera faces down, and then you just let gravity take over. I lost connection halfway down the dive, and that was the most terrifying thing ever. So I'm halfway down the dive, and the feed in my goggles stutters, and then it just like completely goes out. The first thing that I do is that I right my sticks. So whenever you're diving, you let the throttle all the way down. In fact, where's my controller? Whenever you're diving, you let this throttle all the way down. This is basically like power delivery for the drone. So the more that you push the throttle up, the more power that your drone's gonna have. But since you just want gravity to take over, you let this throttle all the way down, and then you push the stick this direction to get the nose pointed down. Well, the first thing that I did was I pulled this stick down so the nose would level out, and then I pushed this one up as hard as possible. Hopefully, you know, the drone like got some communication with the controller, because I couldn't see a thing that was happening in the goggles. So what I wanted it to do was just to right itself and then shoot up, so it just wouldn't crash straight into the ground. Well, good news is I didn't lose. I lost the signal in the goggles. Maybe there was at least enough signal to the controller to where it received that command. And when I got connection back with the goggles, you know, I'm like looking out over the ocean, and thankfully I hadn't drifted into the ocean either. So that was that was an adventure.
Big experience for me.
That rush is one reason more people are joining the industry, and Ek Tong is no exception. His drone journey began more than a decade ago.
I graduated as an electrical engineer, and then I converted myself to a defense scientist. That actually is the first time I get exposed to drones. At the point in time, drones were very new. DJI and the big brands were literally non-existent. So we started building drones from scratch, knowing that it would change the future of warfare. I started seeing more and more potential for drones to be involved in improving human lives.
After leaving the defense sector in 2015, Ek Tong decided to specialize in creating drone assessments.
That's the other thing about flying drones. So I just got a message from a job that I was supposed to do tomorrow, and apparently it's supposed to rain tomorrow pretty hard. And they're questioning whether they're questioning whether they're going to have the event. And you know, the weather has a huge impact on my jobs. First off, it's really windy where I live. So I always have to count like what the wind speed is at any given day, because sometimes like if it's blowing over 20 to 25 miles an hour, honestly, that's like a no-go for flights. There's been times where you just can't cut through the wind. Like the wind's blowing so hard that the drone can go one direction, but it can't go the other. There's ways to get around that. Well, there's ways to fight against it. But I've had instances where I've been flying over construction sites on particularly windy days, and the battery's nearing the end of its life, and so it's time to bring it back, and it just feels like you're flying your drone into like this invisible wall. It can't go back the way it came. Long story short, I end up having to run down the street and catch it before it hits the ground. So that was fun. But yeah, weather is always something that you have to worry about whenever it comes to flying.
For example, there's one that transforms drones into lightning rods to protect high-priority equipment, and another which doubles a drone's flight time.
We have heated drone systems. So what it does is it literally decouples the battery on the drone by putting the battery or the power source onto the ground, pump very high voltage through a very thin cable to the drone.
That link to Earth allows the drone to be deployed in locations that are traditionally demarcated as high-risk, no-fly zones, such as airports or roads.
Oh, that's how they get around that.
Classify them, the trucks, cars, motorbikes. We can tell the speed that it's traveling.
Oh, wow.
If you want to trace a particular vehicle, then we will train the AI to look for it across the roads and only alert the user when that vehicle of that pattern appears.
Being a drone pilot isn't just flying, but integrating technological advancements into the machines. AI is one such example that Kevin sees as integral to his work.
These are the images that we have collected today. What I'm supposed to do is to ensure the clarity of each respective images, and then to make sure there's sufficient overlap between the first image and, of course,
he's doing photogrammetry.
We will go into a software where we make use of AI to pick up defects.
What are the most common defects?
Cracks, corrosion, spalling, and maybe some of the vegetation that's growing out from the facade itself, and of course pigeons.
Were there any defects that you found in the images that we took earlier?
No, I don't think there are much defects, but I can show you some past samples. These are defects.
These are all defects? There's like dozens of them.
Correct. The traditional method is to make use of digital cameras, binoculars to collect all these facade images, and then for post-processing wise, they are supposed to screen through individual images and to pick up defects on its own.
So no AI involved?
No AI.
It's just eye power.
Okay, so I forgot to explain, he's doing photogrammetry where he takes like multiple images where he said there's overlap. That's kind of how it tipped me off to what he was doing. You have to have like a certain level of overlap between images, so he's taking hundreds of images, stitching them together to make one big picture. I have examples of where I do this like at apartment complexes, basically to map sites and stuff like that. It's almost like taking a satellite image, except you're just like taking multiple images and making what would look like a satellite image. And you can also plug it into Google Earth, so it makes it look a whole lot cooler. So like Google Earth, but up to date.
Correct. So you can imagine the amount of effort and time being wasted.
According to a drone market research firm, the commercial UAV market is expected to be worth more than $54 billion by 2030. As the applications for drones increase, so will the demand for pilots. Both Kevin and Tom made mid-career switches to be drone pilots after stints in business marketing and consulting respectively.
These tiny drones, I spent 6 months practicing every day, about 2 hours a day, crashing these things at home.
So did
scratch my walls. Usually for
okay, I didn't scratch my
build
walls.
our own drones. For this one, the manufacturer actually put it together for me. FPV is a very customizable thing. We choose our parts and we put them together. The parts come from different manufacturers and brands.
And how did you, attain the skills to do that?
It's a lot of self-discovery, self-study, under pilots, forums, YouTube.
Tom also teaches drone piloting courses to adults looking to improve their skills or make mid-career switchers like himself.
Teaching will help myself or other drone pilots will learn better, especially for drone or anything technology. You need to keep updating yourself. I think it's a good revenue for me to do that.
What do you see your students doing in the future?
Military, agriculture, delivery, logistics.
Public interest to adopt such technology is present. It's increasing across all sectors.
There's tons of applications, and I'm sure like a few years down the road, there'll be applications that we won't even be thinking of today.
We just have to ensure we touch on the privacy issue, safety aspect, the last one is practicality. So these 3 main points will kind of help to educate the users and even to our clients. This is the right tool for you for the right job.
How fun is your job?
This is serious fun that goes beyond just flying on drones, just engineering. You get to see many aspects of life. You get to work with many different agencies that you never get to. How often you get to work with Homeland Security to look for lost people. All these are experiences that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, this is the most fun that I've ever had working. When I was early on, I used to feel like it was like going on a field trip every single day. And in a way, I still feel that way. So in today's video, you get to see a little bit of what the job actually looks like. In the next video, I'm going to take you with me and show you what it looks like being a drone pilot in the field. So be sure to subscribe to make sure that you don't miss that video. But hopefully you learned something today that you can use to create the life that you want to live. Thank you.